huge win, West Orange Sharp, for the baseball boys.
Yeah, I believe had a no-hitter we threw there. And, that's always good. Moss threw the no-hitter the other night. But, it was 0-0 going in the third, and then scored 3 in the third, 4 in the fourth, and then scored a whole bunch, I think, in the fifth. But kids played good, and they've been really close. I mean, they were in both of the Little Cypress and Mauriceville games with an opportunity to win those games, and then played Silsbee, one of the 2 times really, really close. So not far off the mark, but, want to win here Friday coming up, senior night tomorrow. Want to have a good showing there.
No doubt, no doubt. So last time we spoke, you talked about parent meetings coming up. Tell me a little bit about that. What was the reception like?
So it was really good. I will tell you, we had class of 2030, the incoming freshmen. They had their own separate meeting at 5:30 this past week on Monday, and then immediately following that, around 6:45, 7 o'clock, we had class 2031 and 32, which is the incoming 7th and 8th graders, and there was a lot of folks in that auditorium. So I was very pleased with that. But I know that some folks can't make it, and we'll have future meetings before we get to the summertime, or before we get to the football season. Next year we'll have some summer meetings, and so that's a big deal. But the fact that there's this many people that are showing interest in coming out, that's important to me. Already. Because it shows me that they want to know, they want to learn. Yeah. What are the expectations moving forward, and they had a lot of questions that we were able to answer.
Gotcha. So since you've been here, what's something that's kind of caught you off guard a little bit? I mean, obviously, with coming into the area, I mean, you have some familiarity with the area, but, something that you've kind of seen is coming to the school, something that's kind of caught you off guard a little bit, maybe by surprise.
Just the amount of people that have stopped by and reached out that, to offer assistance. If you need anything, holler at me. Most are alumni, but some are just local business people. And what that tells me is there's an absolute overall group of people in this town, or an entire town, that wants to assist things being able to be done the right way, and are willing to help in any way. And so that's a big deal to me, and it says a lot about the people in this town, because I know the folks that are here and the folks that have left here, they love this school, they love this school district, and they love this town, and they want to see success overall, not just athletics, overall success. And I want the same thing, and that's going to happen. I'm excited about how the kids have responded since I've been here, and really how the parents have responded since I've been here. So that has been something you can tell is part of the reason why this is such a special place.
Talk to me a little bit about the girls' track. What's going on there?
Yeah, so we had several qualifiers, that'll be going to regionals. Last Thursday, the young ladies and young men competed at the area meet in Madisonville, last Thursday. And this week, they're just practicing. Next week, on Friday and Saturday, they'll be in Bullard for the regional track meet. And so just some of those names. On the boys' side, you have Cam Elam qualified in the shot put. And so I think he threw maybe 46-10, something around there. And then you have Roxanne Hadnot. She qualified in the high jump in the 4x1. You have Asia LeBlanc qualified for regionals in the 300 hurdles in the 4x1. Mackenzie Williams qualified in the 4x1. Tamaji Fountain is an alternate in the 4x1. And then La Brea Wale qualified in the long jump, the triple jump, the 100, and the 4x1. So, and then actually La Brea and Roxanne both won their events in the long and the high jump. So, like I said, the girls really represented, and we had some other guys that competed well, and, Cam's the only one that got out of that meet. But I think all these young ladies and Cam will have a chance to get out of the region even and possibly compete at the state track meet.
That's wild, man. That's good, man. Seeing the end of the year completing up like this with the track, I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's huge, and that's something that it's the last sport. It looks like, because softball's in it, and then we're not going to make the postseason in baseball. So you want to end on a high note, and that high note for track is always in Austin. University of Texas. Yep. You got Roxanne as a defending state champion in the high jump, and she actually cleared. I think she PR'd at 5:10 the other day. and got really close at 5'11". So I project that before the end of this season, she keeps telling me she's going to do it, but she's going to hit 6 foot, and that's a great mark. Sure. On the ladies' side, 6 foot.
Yeah.
That's almost like a guy going 6'10", 7 foot. I mean, that's a huge mark right there. But she comes out here, and her coaches, she's very coachable and she works hard. So, and the good thing about her is she's just a junior, so she's coming back. So that's a good thing.
That is a good thing. All right, so shifting gears a little bit, tell me just right off the bat, college team. Who do you look at? Who do you like?
My college team has always been Florida State. I'm a Bobby Bowden fan. Love Charlie Ward. I followed Charlie Ward from Florida State to the Knicks. I'm a huge Knicks fan. Go Knicks tonight, against Atlanta. But Charlie Ward, people don't. I mean, that guy was a Heisman Trophy winner. Sure. And was a first-round draft pick in basketball.
Right.
If he was literally born about 25 years later, he would thrive in today's NFL. He would thrive in today's NFL. And I just think, because he's the first shotgun spread quarterback to win the national championship. People don't realize that. But, those Florida State teams in the 90s and early 2000s. And I got to actually attend the Florida State-Florida game in 2013 when they won the national championship. So,
really?
So
it's deep.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is. And so now I get to wear my Florida State gear around it, and it's matching. It's matching. So, sure. That's a good thing.
No, it works. It works. So tell me this. So if you have, if we take just a little glimpse toward football season next year, what do you think you bring to the situation outside of the work ethic and the shift of culture and those types of things, very mechanically speaking? What do you think you bring into the mix that maybe Jasper hasn't seen in a while?
Well, give me an example. What you're talking about? When you say mechanics.
Talking about the spread, talking about exactly kind of following what who you kind of. It was one of the reasons why I had to question because following that Florida State side of things, it makes me wonder if that hasn't actually translated into kind of how you approach, because some teams are just right up the middle. They're just going to jam the ball down your throat the whole night. At the same time, it seems like there's a little bit more spread action going on, paying attention to what's happening, really giving an opportunity to spread the field. And so, I mean, at least from what I've seen.
And so, people don't realize that, I study coaches. Sure. I study coaches. So you had Bobby Bowden, and he's to me he's one of the best coaches, head coaches that's ever lived in any level. But on that staff in '93 and when they won it again in I think '99, Mark Richt was offense coordinator. He went on to be the head coach at Georgia and then Miami. And then Mickey Andrews was a defense coordinator on that staff. So like I said, two phenomenal coaches. So I just do believe this that the coaching staff that we're putting together right now is going to be exceptional, and it's going to be something that maybe hadn't been seen in this town for a while, but in some familiar faces. There's people returning off the former staff, and like I said, just the additions are huge. Mechanically speaking, I like to believe that I do a pretty decent job making in-game adjustments. I mean, I was just asking one of the older coaches yesterday. I said, man, it's been a while since I've been in a smaller school. I said, if we have guys that we're sharing offense, defensive guys, my philosophy is always, if they're a defensive starter, but they play on the offense side of the ball, they do not come out of the game on defense. We spot play them on offense, but it's difficult to make those adjustments on the sideline with those offensive players. Defense, gets precedence. But I do think you're going to see a very well-coached offense, defense, and special teams. A lot of people don't realize how crucial it is to be sound in your special teams game, that third phase. You can win and lose a bunch of games. The biggest game that I won last year at my prior place was at Temple, walk-off field goal, but also in that game we had a huge kickoff that pinned them inside the 10 and a huge punt that pinned them inside the 10.
Sure.
And so those things matter. I went entire seasons where the punt return yardage that was coming back at us was negative, and we forced 3, 4, 5 turnovers. And so, that's huge to me. Now, I'm saying all that, I don't even know who the punter and kickers are, what I'm saying? Right. But I will tell you, when I figure out who they are, and figure out who's where, we put the pads on, people are going to be very well coached, and we go over those 3 phases thoroughly, weekly, and we adjust to what we see on film.
Pretty cool. Thanks again for sitting down.
J's up and go Dogs.